The development of larotrectinib was a little bit unusual in two ways. One, it was a very focused development that really honed in on targeting TRK fusions in the earliest parts of its clinical development. The other interesting feature of larotrectinib's development was the ability to integrate the patient experience across 3 clinical trial programs. And those were the first-in-human phase 1 adult study, which is a study that we initially defined the proper dose of this agent in adults. Then there was a first-in-child phase 1 study that actually uniquely entered the clinic shortly after the adult study. And we rarely see that in cancer, where children are getting very early access to a novel targeted therapy. And then the third was a phase 2 study in adult and adolescents that were characterized by the presence of TRK fusions. The 2 phase 1 studies initially didn't require TRK fusion positivity, and the phase 2 study did. So ultimately, the data set that was used to register this drug was the kind of combination of all the TRK fusion positive patients enrolled across these 3 clinical trials that represent the development program of larotrectinib. The other feature that was really unusual about the larotrectinib development plan was the inclusion of patients with any kind of cancer, provided that they had a TRK fusion. That tumor-agnostic development was a first for targeted therapy development in cancer.
Overall, in general, this was one of the first histology-agnostic indications. In the initial data set of 55 patients, we really didn't see a huge difference in response rates across all different histologies, different ages, different types of NTRK fusions, 1, 2, or 3 translocations. And so that's what eventually led to the FDA approval. And the most updated data set here in the adult patients of 83 patients that we saw, we didn't really see any significant differences. There are some subsets of tumor types that had lower numbers, and for example, colorectal, I think, had a slightly lower number of patients enrolled, and therefore had, like a 50 or 60% response rate, which is lower than the 75% that we've seen in some. But I suspect that some of that was just small numbers.